it's all come to this. The Formula Drift Championship will make history tonight as it'll crown a new champion, and that new champion will either be Forsberg, Gittin, or Osbo. All three drivers have a clear path to victory. If Forsberg wins, he'll become the first ever three-time champion. If Osbo wins, he'll be the second driver to win back-to-back championships. If Gittin wins, he'll join Faust, Hubinet, and Forsberg as the only two-time champions. All of this comes to culmination tonight, only on Universal Technical Institute Formula Drift Insider. Prior to Irwindale, the FD Championship visited Texas Motor Speedway. We saw Matt Field shake up the competition.
Saturday was a good day at Texas, obviously. We were able to stand on top spot of the box. It was just a normal event kind of thing. Our first battle was against Tanner, and you know, some people kind of underestimate Tanner, I think, now. They're like, oh, he's a little bit older, he hasn't been, he kind of comes in and out. The sport's changed so much. But in the last season, he's really turned it up, like without a doubt. We went in there with a car that was semi-set up to battle with him, but it wasn't everything that we had. It wasn't showing all of our cards because we just didn't think we need it. And I feel like we were kind of graced one more time after our first battle. After that, we're like, all right, we're not making that mistake again. When we went back to the pits to put tires on it, change the setup, then we had a car to beat him, and we did. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh man, the car is much faster than I thought it was going to be, because we never went there. We thought we had enough car before we went against Tanner.
You know, Texas started off amazing. Qualified first, I was feeling great out there. It was a hot event, but the fans were there, pumped and having a good time, which is always great for us as drivers because we feel that vibe. And you know, heading into the top 16, I had a battle against Matt Field. My lead run laid it down, amazing. And on the chase run, unfortunately we made a bad decision and it just kind of bit us. I ended up having to play catch up against Matt and over-rotated on the last turn and essentially just threw the event away.
Going into Texas, I came off of a win in Seattle, so I felt like I had to keep the momentum going, had some pressure, and you know, I felt like we had our hands full that whole event because going into top 16 with Mike Essa, we got a pretty big hit from Mike at the very first turn, and I had to get towed off the track. It was a big hit, and I didn't know if we were going to be able to put the car back together to keep running. My crew did a phenomenal job of patching the car up just to run with Mike because we didn't have enough time to fix it properly. I had to basically be super careful and just get the car through the track without zeroing out, and I pulled that off. So, you know, it was a relief. And then going in deeper into competition, I had to go against Kristaps, and we take notes during competition, and he was just freakishly fast at Texas. The car handled really well, but Kristaps just had more speed than me, you know, and unfortunately he had more speed digging out of the very first turn.
It's always a toss-up with Forrest, what's going to happen. We knew that our car was much faster, but it's about playing it smart. And this is where probably the first battle in this round that came into play. We could have attacked him the entire time, rubbed a tire on his door around the whole track, but we didn't need to do that. We just figured that we need to attack at certain points and back off on certain points of the track and play the round smart. We did, and we got the win.
You know, it was awesome to see Forsberg and Osbo line up in the grade 8. You know, I was happy that at least both of them weren't going to be able to make it on the podium. And, you know, despite my competitiveness, wanting, you know, the points to even out a bit, it would have been nice for Osbo to take Forsberg out, but because of my relationship with Chris, of course, I wanted him to win, and I was rooting for him. And, you know, they went one more time, but ended up being a really good battle, as it should be.
Coming up behind Chris, he came in a little bit shallow to where he was almost off course. He took down that inner clip, and what ended up happening is I was right there in the smoke for seconds. Could not see at all. Then he got on the e-brake, checked up to do the transition, and he was right there. I stomped the brakes, had a big correction, and that was all she wrote.
Then we went up against Kirstad Blues, and we knew that his car was like just as fast, if not faster than ours. And fortunately, on our lead run, he flew off the track behind us because I think that he couldn't see. The track was really, really hard to navigate at night, and then you're getting blasted in the face with smoke, especially like behind my car that makes a decent amount of smoke. He just was lost, flew off track, and I knew we had it right then and there.
Well, obviously after we beat Osbo and moved into the semifinals, we were pumped. We knew that we were actually not on the podium yet. We still had to get to the final round or we would have been 4th place. But you know, we're definitely excited. We were faced up with Alec Onadale. It was just a pretty fair battle. He had a little bit of an engine problem, or power steering actually is what it was. When he went to transition into the inner clip 2, his car didn't rotate, and he just kind of like blasted off the track in the lead position and gave me an easy win. We got to the final battle, and I thought Matt Field's car was going to be a little bit faster through turn 1, and I dove in and wanted to be on the inside and nice and close to not fall into the smoke screen, and just was a little too close to him and bumped into his car, and it rotated me out, and another 2nd place, but I'll take it.
And with that, Matt Field takes the momentum into Irwindale.
Formula Drift on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Universal Technical Institute, chosen by industry, ready to work. By Blackview Dash Cameras. And by Hankook Tire, driving emotion.
Irwindale Speedway is a historic drift track. It's named the House of Drift for a reason, and all drivers want to stake their claim here, especially when it comes to closing out championships.
We do have a pretty healthy gap from 1st to 2nd place coming to Irwindale. However, in our eyes, it's not enough. For me, it's very important to win the 3rd championship. I want to be the first driver to win a 3rd championship. I want to get another podium and be 7 in a row. I just want to set records and just continue to just drive the best that I can in the sport that I love so much. And you know, with that comes winning, and you know, maybe not winning events, but winning championships, or just, you know, podiums or whatever it is. But you know, we didn't come here to just, you know, have a crappy weekend and brush it off our shoulders. You know, we're here for one reason, and we're going to do everything we can to get that.
I do know that Forsberg has to go out in the grade 8. So my hope is that I could battle Forsberg and Osbo early, since I'm confident I can beat them head to head and not rely on everybody else doing the work. So we'll see how that stacks up. Maybe the qualifying gods will make it happen in my favor. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm here to do one job, and that's win our final round. You know, I don't feel like the pressure's on me, right? I can only go up, and Forsberg and Osbo can only come down. So for me, it's just another round. And, you know, this Mustang is going to be on rails here this weekend, and it's going to be hard to keep up with.
Ever since we won the championship, the goal has been to make it a back-to-back championship. And we've been fighting really hard throughout the season. We're coming up on the season finale. The crew's tired. I've been working, you know, my butt off. It's been a wild season, but clinching it here, doing well, ending on the podium, and even taking a championship here would mean the world to all of us.
I am kind of in a similar spot as I was last year, and I feel like there's more hopes this year to advance into top 3. You know, last year I finished off in top 5, and this year Vaughn's in front of me, and there's definitely, you know, a lot of opportunity to advance in front of him. So I'm going to try very hard to be keeping up with that trend and consistently, you know, knocking on the door of the top 3, top 4 drivers. You know, it's not a bad place to be, but I'm very hungry to break through into, you know, top 3 overall, at least in the series.
As qualifying begins, the top drivers hustle to get the best position in the bracket possible, one that either puts them against the competitor they want or don't want to face. It's all about positioning for this championship.
I've been thinking on it, stewing on it, put it in the universe, made some funny videos about it, and it happened. You know, my qualifying 13th overall, and Forsberg qualified 4th, lines us up in the top 16. So we just got to get through top 32, battle Forsberg, get him knocked out, and then hopefully somebody on the other side of the bracket does the hard work and gets Osbo out early, and we move on to win the event, and that's how I see the day going.
Everything is lined up perfectly for Gittin. All he needs to do now is drive his best, and he has a real shot to go all the way. But unfortunately, the tide shifted, and after 2 one-more times with Patrick Mordaunt, went hard into the wall in the big bank, ended his event and his run at the championship. With Osbo and Forsberg still in the mix, the top 16 is next.
Formula Drift on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Nexen Tire. Driving tomorrow. By FormulaD.com. For merchandise, tickets, and series information, head to FormulaD.com. And by the U.S. Air Force. Aim high.
As the sun goes down, the lights go up, and we head into top 16. Number 1 qualifier, Dai Yoshihara, is the first up against Jeff Stoneback.
So I just run against Jeff Stoneback. I led first. I did a pretty clean run. I would say maybe 90% of my qualifying run, which was great. And I think he followed pretty well. But when I switch, I think I follow a little bit better than he did. I think my lead run was better than his. And of course it's a close battle, but I got moved on this time.
As Dai gets the win, Forsberg and his team prepare to do battle as the rest of the top 16 continues under the lights here at Irwindale.
Okay, in the lead run, I just did my own line, basically. Nothing major. I thought maybe he did something wrong behind me, so I didn't care. When I was following, he was a bit sketchy at the entry, but I got really close and stayed pretty close. Maybe one of the best runs I've had throughout the weekend. So.
It's now time for Chris Forsberg to strap up and hit the track. First, he'll take on Patrick Mordaunt, the driver who ended Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s day and a shot for the championship in the top 32. On the first run, Forsberg lays down a clean lead run, but Patrick Mordaunt is hanging in there to close the door and force a strong run on run number 2, which is exactly what happens.
My chaser, I gave him a little bit of gap on the bank and kind of slowly closed in with him. And as we're coming into that lower outer zone, I was trying to check up. I hit the brakes twice on the e-brake a little bit, but still he was just so loose. He was just kind of floating. Just I was waiting for him to pick up on the throttle, and it just didn't happen. As soon as I hit him, I went right into the wall.
No one's safe. I mean, Chris has been on rails all week, and then boom, this happens. And I'm glad I got to watch it. Lesson learned right there. You don't want to go too deep into that inner bank, but man, that's a hard hit. Hope it's okay.
Keep our fingers crossed for you, man. He's got to take second to do it, right?
Yeah, at this point, us going out where we did, Osbo has to win his top 16 and top 8 rounds and get to the semifinals.
Up next, Pollock and Hilbrun.
Just laid out a solid lead run, got high on the bank, kind of like flubbed my entry a little bit more grip out there than I was expecting. Got high on the wall, good transition, just ran my run. And I got done, and spotter told me that he shut his car down like halfway through the run. So I'm not sure what happened, but whatever, dude, we'll take some luck into the top 8.
Never had 2 bye runs in a row, let alone this far down a bracket. It's really bittersweet. It's something where you want to be able to battle the guys and move on from your rounds and get warmed up and be able to change your car setup for the guys that you're going to go up against later. So right now I've had just a bunch of practice laps further down a bracket to then eventually go up against somebody in a tandem battle. So it's some give and take, but we'll take it. It's put us in top 8, and we're just trying to get all the points that we can get in the final round here and try to move up the championship points ladder.
On the lead, I was going down the straightaway, getting ready to initiate, and I felt him get into me. So I don't know if he crossed over the yellow line, but there was definitely some contact before we got into the bank. And then I was just on the bank up on the wall. I could think he went a little shallow. I could see him down below, and just went in real hard to the inner loop. And I think he was kind of close, but making some mistakes, and then came back around. And I knew we had an advantage at that point. Just needed to stick with him, and we initiated when I was following, and he straightened up quite a bit. So I knew we probably had an edge on him there, but it was pretty good. The Mobile One Camaro has been awesome all night.
Next up, charging driver Forrest Wang.
So I led first, going for that 100-point qualifying run. I definitely say I nailed it on the lead run. I had a spot-on run. It must have been like a high 80, 90 run, and really laid it down. The spotter said that it looked like I had the advantage, but Odie stayed tight, so give it my best shot.
I was determined on my lead run. I was just going to stick to the qualifying line and pull a huge gap. So the problem is when I initiated on my lead run, we had a rear end failure, and I had no forward power whatsoever, and I was just hoping that Forrest doesn't taco his car too bad into mine. All I could do is just coast at that point, and the run's over for me. Huge implications of not advancing to 3rd overall in the season, which I am absolutely devastated about.
And if you get 3rd or 4th, it's only 64 points. So you need to go to 2nd to get 80.
How many points behind this? You said 69?
It's now defending champion Osbo's turn. Everything for the championship is in his favor, except that he has to face the driver with the most momentum, Texas winner Matt Field.
I went out. I knew Matt was going to be really fast, so I stuck into his door along the first bank, came into the infield, came up on his side, almost a little too close, and right as he got on the brakes, I hit him. Now for my lead, we tried to put down a good, strong qualifying run. We succeeded, but it wasn't enough to move on.
Got him. End his championship hopes. You got a little too aggressive coming into inner clip 2, hit me in the door, we swapped positions, still laid down a solid follow, did everything we needed to do, we got the win. Top 8.
And with Osbo's loss, Chris Forsberg has crowned his 3rd overall title, a feat done by no other person in the history of Formula Drift. Frederick Osbo, in a magnanimous move, comes over to congratulate Forsberg on his feat.
How would you describe that?
The most insane emotional roller coaster I think I've ever been on. Just, coming in on a high, slamming into the wall, getting the biggest low, just standing on that tow truck, it's like it just threw it all away, just lost the whole thing. And then to still have that buffer from the entire buildup of the season, to still win it, even though we had a big mistake, from Osbo, just same thing, just making a critical error in the wrong part of the track. And so, and that's just the way it is, it's the entire year, it's every run. I'm 3-time champion. It's a good feeling.
Formula Drift on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Universal Technical Institute, chosen by industry, ready to work. By FormulaD.com. For merchandise, tickets, and series information, head to FormulaD.com. By Nitto Tire, fueled by enthusiasts. And by Blackview Dash Cameras.
With the championship put away, it's now time to get down to the business of winning the round. First up, Dai Yoshihara and Juha Rintanen.
It was great. I had a great battle with Juha Rintanen. But I guess when I followed him, he was struggling keeping the car in sideways, he was wobbling. And it was kind of tough for me to follow close, but I did my best, and then it worked out, actually.
Patrick Merdaunt, who has played the role of spoiler, takes on Justin Pollock.
Well, I just finished my top 8 battle with Justin Pollock, and definitely had a difficult chase trying to get behind him. He threw angle in places I didn't expect, so it was really challenging to follow. And then on my lead lap, I was able to just walk away from him, and I think he must have gotten lost in the smoke or just got too tight on me somewhere and ended up spinning out, giving us the win.
I think I burned up the tires maybe a little too much, and on our lead, it was just super loose. But we've just been struggling kind of the whole weekend with getting the bank down, and that's usually my strong suit over there. So that hurt us there. He got the win, got knocked out of grade 8. All in all, pretty good weekend, but just struggled with the car this weekend and just didn't seem fully comfortable with it.
When we get Forrest Wang on our follow run, we knew we had to stick it close right away. He's a hard-charging driver, and if he has the opportunity to be close to you, he will. We were close to him throughout the entire bank, applied pressure on inner bank 2. Good run, solid run. On the lead position, we took off. I guess we dipped out. I don't know exactly how much distance we put between us, but we did what we needed to do.
Yoshihara and Merdaunt do battle.
My lead run, as usual, good, but tiny mistake here and there. Follow run, in the bank, I kind of had a good gap, which I was like, damn, right? But I was able to catch up in a field and then hole in a field, I was good. So I think that's why I got moved on.
Ryan Turk, unfortunately, is a no-show against Matt Field, but will take third due to qualifying.
You know, the Nameless Performance guys thrashed on the thing as long as they could, as long as we had for time. We thought it was a crank sensor not syncing with the rest of the engine, so it wouldn't fire the plugs, and changed that and it didn't work. So we were out of ideas and out of time, and it's just the way that goes in Formula D. I think we're on the podium, so that's cool. It's the first podium of the season, so it's not we're not ending the season on a bad note. Car's still in one piece, so silver lining's looking pretty good anyways.
First run against Matt, I did great. I shouldn't say great, but I did good lead learn, and he hit me in the last corner. I think he stopped there or he spun there, so I had a big advantage going through the next run. But when I initiate, as I initiated, the power steering belt just cut it off, and I have no control there, so I have to stop.
We got the win. Went one more time. He had a mechanical failure in the first run. In the second run, same thing seemed like it happened. Sent him into the wall. We passed him, squeaked by barely. Couldn't do a second run, so we got the win. Being able to come off a win in Texas and come in here and get another win, to me, it's just proving that it wasn't a fluke. The first win was a relief. Now I'm happy.
Matt Field and Chris Forsberg are the winners here tonight, and thus another incredible FD season comes to a close in 2016. 8 events across the nation, sellout crowds, and the best motorsports entertainment in the world is what makes up Formula Drift. The 2016 season has come to a close, but Long Beach is around the corner as the series gets ready to kick off the 2017 season. Till then, happy drifting. In association with Formula Drift, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.